Of course, not all of Jesus' disciples died a violent death, nor do all modern disciples die as martyrs. Rosa Parks, empowered by the Spirit, refused to give up her seat on a bus to a white man, in an action that became the catalyst that sparked the Montgomery bus boycott and the civil rights revolution which followed. She just passed away in old age this past year. And Malala Yousafzai, the 15-year-old Pakistani schoolgirl and activist who was shot in the head by the Taliban assassin on her way home from school last fall, for speaking out about education for girls. As she mends from the surgery following that attempt at assassination, she continues to speak boldly as her recovery progresses. Empowered by the Spirit and presence of the sacred, to stay true to the course, to the way of the cross for Christians, to the way of servanthood for Muslims. Such is the power of theophanies, of encounters with the Holy One on mountaintop experiences in thin places, of answered prayer and the experience of the presence of God. They sustain us on our journey of faith. They feed us on the way. They empower us to embrace the way of the cross, of voluntarily giving of ourselves for the sake of the others, as Christ gave himself for us. They are what enable us to stand firm and go against the grain of the world and to reject the world's values, which supplants the love of neighbor with the love of self. We need to heed those gifts from God and hear the voice that the disciples heard. This is my beloved Son. Listen to him. In his first call to the disciples to follow him, it was a simple call. It was, come and follow me. In his second call to the disciples, after this mountaintop experience, it's pick up your cross and follow me. Jesus inviting us to embrace the way of the cross as the way of life. Sacred moments. Thin places where the presence of God can be felt. The sacrament of the altar can be such an experience. It is, after all, where we say God meets us in the ordinary stuff of bread and wine. That in that bread and wine, God feeds us, God equips us, God sustains us for holy living. God empowers us for the journey of servanthood that lies ahead. Listen to the words of invitation that surround that feast at the altar. How in the liturgy we say, taste and see that the Lord is good. where we sing, "Give us a foretaste of the feast that is yet to come." Today we will install the elected leaders of our community of faith for this coming year in prayer, in the presence of one another, and in the power of God bestowed on us through word and sacrament. They are charged with taking us from the mountaintop down into the valley of the shadow of death. From places of safety to places of ministry. From places of comfort and security, such as this sacred space, out into the world. To places of discomfort and insecurity, in order that there we might proclaim a different kind of world, a world of nonviolence, a world of economic justice for all people, a world of radical inclusion of all races and sexual orientations, a world where Jesus is Lord. So as we install our elected leaders for this coming year, let us enfold them with our supports and encourage them with our prayers and embrace them with our love and follow the path that they will set before us.